Welcome to Swanage Pier Trust. This is our Christmas story. It's called When Santa Caught COVID. 7 days to Christmas and the elves were working flat out at Santa's North Pole headquarters. Letters from children were arriving by the sackload and presents were being wrapped and stacked ready for delivery. At one end of the vast warehouse up a rickety staircase sat Father Christmas in his office, surveying the scene with satisfaction. It was 11:15 and Mrs. Claus would soon be arriving, as she did every morning, to bring him some coffee and have a little chat. In the meantime, he watched the elves work, glowing with pride that for one night of the year at least, his operation was more efficient than his nearest rival, Amazon. The cuckoo clock struck 11 and he heard Mrs. Claus climbing up the steps to his office. "Morning! How's it going? Everyone behaving?" she asked. "Oh, yes, everything going swimmingly," he replied. She put down a flask of coffee and turned to face him. "Swimmingly? Are you thinking of going swimming? What are you wearing? Why are you in your pants and a t-shirt?" "I'm trying out a new look. Santa for the cool digital generation," he replied. Mrs. Claus looked at him and said, "Are you okay? Have you been on the magic dust again?" "No, I'm fine. I was just feeling a bit hot, actually. Sometimes those trousers and that hooded top are a bit much." Mrs. Claus put her hand on his forehead and said, "Actually, you do feel a bit hot." "That's what I was saying," he replied. "No, really hot, as in you have a temperature. How long have you been feeling like this?" "Just today. Let's have a coffee and then I want to show you how the new present wrapping machines are working. They really are magnificent. They can tell from the present what sort of wrapping paper is most suitable by using an algorithm." "You are not going anywhere," interjected Mrs. Claus. "I'm going to get my thermometer. You have a temperature. You need a coronavirus test and you must self-isolate from now until you get the results." But, said Santa. "No buts. Drink your coffee. I'm going home to order a test for you. I hope you qualify as a key worker." And so, Santa went into self-isolation in the home he shared with Mrs. Claus. 6 days to Christmas and he called a Zoom conference with Rudolph to discuss Plan B for Christmas Eve. "Hey Rudolph, how are you? In training for the big night? How are the rest of the team?" "I think you're on mute, Rudy." "Oh, hello, can you hear me? Oh, good. Sorry about that. Yes, I'm fine." "Well, Rudy, as you know, because we were speaking by Zoom, I have coronavirus symptoms, and so there's a big problem. I'll be self-isolating on Christmas night, so I'm wondering whether for 1 year only, you reindeer could cope on your own with the worldwide delivery of Christmas joy and happiness, otherwise known as presents. We've been doing this for so long now, you all know the route. I hardly need to steer the sleigh." "Well, yes, we are more than capable. None of us could get down a chimney, mind, but we might be able to find some local temporary staff to help out with that bit. Lots of people are out of work at the moment, so we should be able to recruit some temporary staff. We do, however, have a bit of a problem. Prancer's son has been sent home from school because one of his classmates tested positive, so now the entire Prancer household is self-isolating." "What?" "Oh, and Dancer needs urgent knee surgery, so self-isolating for a fortnight before that. So she's out until at least January the 10th. "When were you going to tell me this?" asked Santa. "Well, we've been trying to find some other reindeer who might be up for the challenge of flying around the world in less than 24 hours. And we did have some interest from some reindeer in Canada, Alaska, Northern Europe and Russia. The problem is their governments are restricting travel for non-essential reasons." "But we are essential. It's Christmas, for goodness sake. This is an international emergency." "Yes, but even if they could fly here tomorrow, they'd need to quarantine for 14 days, so they wouldn't be able to pull a sleigh until January the 1st, so actually that doesn't help us," said Rudy. And with that, Santa was so incensed he just terminated the Zoom call. Mrs. Claus put an ice bag on his head and sent a text to Rudolph apologising for his rudeness and suggesting another call the following morning. Later that day, Santa's home COVID test arrived in the sack of letters to Santa along with one for Mrs. Claus. They each did their tests, which they found a little uncomfortable, makes you gag a bit and makes your eyes water, but only for a few seconds. And they were both very impressed with the easy home assembly box, which came with the test to return the samples in. Within hours, the completed tests were back in the post to the North Pole testing laboratory. 5 days to Christmas, and it is time to consider Plan B again. After a good night's sleep and half an hour with his meditation app, Santa Claus was feeling calmer and set up another Zoom call with Rudolph. "Morning, Rudolph. Sorry about yesterday." "That's all right," said Rudolph. "I'm sorry I didn't keep you in the loop with what's going on here in the reindeer pound." "Well, let's move on. Is it time to consider Plan B?" "Oh no, boss, I really don't think you should do that. Outsourcing to the competition, that is a very bad idea." "What are you talking about?" "Well, I presume by Plan B you mean the A word, Amazon." "Amazon?" said Santa. "Don't be ridiculous. They may have many qualities and are amazing if you suddenly need a new printer at 24 hours notice, but they're not a patch on us where Christmas is concerned. No, I mean, is it time to call the chief fairy?" "The fairies?" "Yes, the fairies at the bottom of the garden. Ubiquitous, totally invisible, and at the bottom of every garden. If we could somehow get the presents to local hubs, maybe the fairies would help out with the final stage of house-to-house delivery." "Well, it's a long shot," said Rudolph, "but with a reduced pulling team and using the smaller sleigh, I reckon we could drop off the presents in a fairy ring in each country over the next few nights if the fairies could take over from there." "OK," said Santa, I'll call Annie, and let's talk again tomorrow, same time." "OK, bye. Mrs. Claus, can you find me a number or email address for Inafbog?" "International Association of Fairies at the bottom of the garden? I thought they were only an island." "We live in a global village now," said Santa. "Everything's global. I want to try to speak to their leader, Ariane."